Hey out there, welcome to the Kevin Strong Show. And in this video, we're going to talk about over half the states in the country are having a financial crisis. What happened? A lot of them were propped up, or a lot of their financial problems were masked by the healthcare crisis. Federal aid kicked in. Now that aid is drying up, and now they're coming back down to earth and have to deal with some real hard choices. So get ready for financial austerity in certain states. We're going to talk about that. If you're new to the show, start off by hitting the like button, hitting the bell notification, because I do release my videos once a week. Yes, today is Black Friday, so I had to give you a different look. I had to pause for the calls. So if I made you laugh, hit that like button. Without further ado, we're going to slide over here and talk about this article, and I will give you an update on this. Well, I'll just tell you right now, the contest for the fake paper trading contest, I kind of slid back a little bit. I was doing some over aggressive trading, and I ended up being in the top 10%, but it wasn't good enough to get any type of monetary prize or any type of free subscription from TradingView. But without further ado, let's go over here and jump on this this article that talks about. Let's see if I can get this thing to act right. There we go. So the title of this article calls "Over Half of U.S. States Are Bleeding Cash and Going Broke." Researchers said here's why and what it means for you. So approximately, like I said, 27 states didn't have enough money to pay their bills at the end of the fiscal year of 2023. This is a really big deal. I know back during the healthcare crisis, if I'm not mistaken, the state of Washington, its unemployment coffers got drained so badly that they had to reach out to the federal government to help pay for some of that, because they basically had just lost all of the money. I have not kept up with that, so I don't know the financial state of unemployment money as it applies to the state of Washington, but I do know that it was in a state, no pun intended, of crisis back in 2021. So let's look at some of the challenges that possibly are going to be headwinds, so to speak, for some of these states. First of all, it's going to deal with federal aid. Some states suffer from budget problems that were previously being masked by the by federal assistance during COVID. I briefly talked about that. Look at this number here. This is a big number. During the pandemic, the federal government significantly stepped up the money it was giving to states, totaling $800 billion. That's $750 billion per the organization. This made it affordable for states to cut taxes and increase spending for a time. I know something that applied to teachers in the state of Washington called the McLaren rule. And I forgot the nuances of that, but I know that was a lot of money that was set up for the Department of Education as it applies to the state of Washington. I know there were some teachers that got some lofty raises as a result of that, and whether or not local state, not so much local state, local school districts, I want to say, local school districts, whether or not they can continue to maintain that hefty payroll, because that payroll was being subsidized. As a result, you know, they're going to have to look at probably property taxes and some other ways to kind of shore up their budgets to continue those payments. And you could potentially start seeing layoffs. That's why I did an article, I think a couple months ago, talking about teachers are actually getting laid off. And that's something that is still ongoing today. Like I say, fall from earth. They talked about state pensions. The largest contributor to state debt at the end of fiscal year 2023 was unfunded retirement liabilities. This is a big deal. So a lot of you may have state pensions. There's some information you can look up to determine whether or not your particular pension, if you have a state pension, is it solvent or is it insolvent? You need to understand that, whether or not that could potentially lead to future pension cuts. You just never know, but I think it's incumbent upon you, if you are contributing to some type of plan, that you know how solvent that particular plan is. So what, at the end of the day, does this mean for you as a person living in a state where the state potentially is underwater, so to speak? You're probably going to see an increase in taxes. So this is like I was talking about at the local school district level. Most cities get their revenue from property taxes. So that's going to be something to keep an eye out on. They're probably going to be looking to increase taxes right at a time where people are just getting squeezed on both ends from inflationary pressures, food costs, gas. Wages aren't keeping up with inflation, despite the numbers that the government try to put out to tell you that your wages are keeping up with inflation. We all know that is not the case. You may see a decline in public services. So you may see a cut in certain things. Those of you who are self-employed and maybe rely on a business that gets some of its revenue from maybe a local city or state government, maybe you have a contract or something like that with a state entity, you may want to look at that, because if you're relying heavily on that as a main source of income for your business, and your particular business gets cut by a public service cut from the state, can have a direct impact on the viability of your business. So that's something you need to be aware of. The government may cut down on benefits. So these are things that are in the know, and you need to know. Everybody's heard about, Elon Musk and I forget the other gentleman's name that's been tasked by recently elect President Trump about cutting government waste. That's going to have a trickle down effect. That's going to be the mission statement moving forward. Those states that maybe a little bit more in the middle or a little bit on the left that don't want to fall in line with that, in my humble opinion, I would not be surprised if then President Trump maybe tries to withhold back some federal funding if you don't want to basically follow his lead. Whether or not that's right or wrong, I'm not here to cast any shade on that. I'm just saying that is a realistic possibility if you don't want to play ball by the way he has things set up and what is going on. But at the same token, you're going to want some type of assistance from the federal government. There may be some strings attached, or you may have to concede some things in order to get the money necessary to take care of your residents. So kind of a different video today. I wanted to kind of make it quick and dirty there, do something a little bit different than what I normally do. So like I said, yeah, really good contest, a lot of good traders, but at the end of the day, I fell a little bit short, but the fact that I was able to finish in the top 10%, little revision here. I thought there was a little bit over 100,000 participants in that contest. It was not. It was about 60,000. So I was probably in the 90 percentile out of that 60,000. But like I said, it was really, really good experience. And as you guys know, that's something that I enjoy doing and continue to try to master. So at the end of the day, this is going to be really, really interesting to see once President Trump takes office. He's going to be looking to cut the federal waste out, cut the fat out. That's going to trickle down, like I said earlier in the video, to the states. But at the same time, the states are going to be looking to shore up, looking for money, because property taxes, whether it be payroll taxes, whatever type of creative solutions they try to come up with to raise more money, it's going to be at the back of the individual. So once again, I haven't said this in a while, so I'll say it again. You have to push your way to left, you have to push your way to right, and everything will be all right. Regardless who you voted for, you have a right to do so, but you don't have a right to use it as an excuse not to push forward. You have a duty to yourself and your family, despite who's in office, despite the obstacles you perceive as roadblocks. You kind of have to find some way around that in order to get to your next benchmark in order to be successful. So always keep your credit score up and your debt down. If you enjoyed this version of the Kevin Strong Show, do me the honors by hitting the like button, hitting the bell notification. Please leave a comment if you think this is something that is going to trickle down to have a big impact on you at the state level. So once again, hope you enjoyed this edition of the Kevin Strong Show. Don't overspend. Please buy responsibly, spend responsibly, and always put money in the bank. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.